guys, it's me, Tikaani, and someone needs to call the big bad wolf because I got hair on my chinny chin. I was thinking that we could look through some OCD memes together, and I just wanted to commentate on them as someone with OCD because I also think they're funny, and a lot of these are like super relatable to me, of course. So I wanted to talk about them, maybe like explain them, break them down, that kind of stuff. As someone who has been diagnosed with OCD, it's not as bad as it used to be. Since I struggled with things a lot like checking to make sure I shut the front door or checking for locks. 3 was my magic number because it always has to be 3. One thing that my husband absolutely hates but also loves because it makes me quirky is that I always kiss him 3 times. It's the rule. If it's just once, it's not right. And it has to be 3 times in succession, right then and there. That's it, okay? Nothing more, nothing less. That's just something that no amount of medication is gonna make go away. And it's very specific, and I understand it's very specific, but it's my reality. Now, once again, just want to reiterate, OCD is not fun. It's not like a cool, quirky condition. There are a lot of things that are really weird and scary about OCD, like intrusive thoughts, and an intrusive thought isn't an impulsive thought like wanting to eat the extra donut. Intrusive thoughts are more so thoughts that you don't want to experience. Something that would pop into your head and you're like, oh, why did I think about that? Now, a lot of them, like, as a person with OCD, I find it easy to kind of laugh them away because some of my intrusive thoughts are the most ridiculous things that I've ever heard of, but it's coming from my brain. So, with it coming from my brain, it can feel like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe that, like, that is that gonna happen? And if you don't have a strong control over your OCD, over your obsessions and compulsions, and it can be hard to grasp, but I'm not here to explain OCD to you. Everybody has unique experiences with OCD. Your OCD is probably different from my OCD. And OCD is more than you need your house super cleaned. In fact, most people with OCD have hoarding issues, so they have a hard time keeping things clean. Which I definitely understand the hoarding. I'm still struggling with that. I will keep scraps of all kind of linens. Let's go ahead and hop into these memes. So this meme is that guy pointing at the butterfly and it goes like, is this a butterfly? Um, but it says, is that a gas leak? And then the butterfly is completely random smell in my home that literally could be anything. It's because like your brain just assumes like the absolute worst case scenario. And maybe this person's obsession is particularly worried about having a gas leak. I don't even have a gas. Like my stove is electric, you know? It's funny because no matter what the smell is, it could be like scrambled eggs or something. OCD's like, is that a gas leak? Oh my gosh, like super dangerous. And then if you don't stop it, it can lead to a spiral of like, now you're panicking, and then it could lead to whatever compulsions this person has. There's this one, it says, I'm visiting the Lawrence Public Library and found what is possibly the strongest opener for any book ever. And it reads, when I was a baby, I was evil. Which when I saw this, I literally LOL'd so hard. I literally laughed out loud so hard. But I think it's really funny because people with OCD definitely a lot of the time your OCD is gonna say an intrusive thought and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm a terrible person for thinking about that. What's wrong with me? And it's your OCD just pretty much picking up on like something that maybe you're a little worried about or insecure about and then latching onto that. And then it'll just boop out like little images into your head, or if you don't have strong like imagination for images, thoughts, depending on the person and the intrusive thoughts that they get. But it's just so funny that it said when I was a baby, I was evil. Like it really does feel like you're just worried that it's so funny because literally there's that like little cringe of like thinking of your past experiences, which I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. But with OCD, that little cringe of thinking of past experiences where maybe you weren't the kindest or maybe you said something really mean, sometimes OCD for me can latch on to that thought and it'll just keep replaying, or it'll start saying other things about that. And then next thing I know, I'm like staring at a wall, freaking out because am I like the devil reincarnated? Eh, I am so evil. I cut that person off in traffic. I I'm the most evil person around. Like I don't even know if I should like be allowed in society. Like I'm so evil. Like it's hard to explain for people that don't understand it, but it really is like this deep feeling of just being like in your heart of hearts. You just believe you're evil because OCD just keeps telling you that you're evil. At least in my experience, like whenever I have an intrusive thought and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like that is not okay. But it is not being evil. It is just OCD latching on to something that might be a fear or an insecurity or a worry. So this meme is the guy laying in bed and he's trying to sleep and then its brain says something and then he's laying there and then he gets mad and then he grabs his phone and looks at it. And the text says, the brain says, you forgot to set your alarm. And the guy says, I literally set it 5 minutes ago and already checked it 2 times. And then he gets angry and he checks to make sure. I do this so much too. And I don't even have to be up, like, I don't even have to, like, wake up to an alarm. I get up, like, well before my alarm would even need to go off. But I get so terrified that I'm gonna sleep through my alarm or that, I'm never like I didn't set it or that I didn't start it. My brain would literally tell me, well, did you leave up the alarm section and did you turn it off? Maybe you misclicked and turned it off. Maybe you set it for the wrong day. Maybe you set it for PM instead of AM. And like you just can't stop thinking about it. And then you have to check and it's a ridiculous cycle because it takes 2 seconds to check, but it's not gonna be enough. Like looking at that once and being like, yep, that's, that's good. You're gonna put it down and then you're gonna lay there and your brain is gonna do the same thing. I like to explain OCD to my partner as like these little loops. Like I get caught in like a loop where I will check something to feed into a compulsion to calm an obsession, which it's doing something because you feel like you have to. I don't know how to explain it other than like when I have a compulsion that like my brain tells me I need to do something and I don't do it, it starts piling up and it starts just like, well, oh my gosh, are you sure? Are you sure? For example, when I let my dogs out at night, I have never forgot them out in the yard. I stand there and I wait till they're done, and then we all as a family come inside and go to bed. I have never forgotten them outside. So explain to me why 2 hours into sleeping, I will wake up from a dead sleep, have a panic moment that like, oh my gosh, I left the dogs outside. Oh no, like something bad has probably happened to them. And I will look underneath my bed and sure enough, my dogs are all in the room and they're fine. And then I can go to sleep again. But like it is really bizarre. The things that your mind just like will latch onto, even if it's never happened. Your brain is just like, but did it? Just imagine having someone in your head that's going, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Like the Tim over here. Are you sure about that? You know, just constantly having that in the back of your head for like a lot of it's not everything, of course, but for a lot of people, it's for their obsessions and compulsion, is they have a little thought in the back of their head. Are you sure? I related to this so hard. My brain loves to be like, are you sure that you set an alarm? Are you sure that you did this? Are you sure that you locked the front door? And you're like, I'm gonna ignore it. It's not that big of a deal. And then you just move on with your day. But that's not how OCD works. I remember one time my husband and I were going to visit his family, and about like 10 minutes down the road, I just started freaking out and I made him turn around. This is when my like OCD was really bad. But I made him turn around so I could make sure that we shut and locked the door. We always do, you know. I probably did my little handle jiggle to make sure that it was locked and pushed on it to make sure that it was actually locked in. But I felt in my heart of hearts that I didn't think it was locked. I didn't think it was shut. Like, my brain just kept flashing images of the door being wide open and my dogs running out and like just awful things, you know? So it felt really scary. And so we had to turn around and check. And sure enough, it's fine. We don't turn around and check anymore. I have to talk myself through it and remind myself of, well, I twisted the doorknob and it was latched, or like my husband shut the door, so I know that it's shut because he shut it and he always checks and like all this stuff. Like, I cannot describe, other than like a tense like fear and anxiety, like an intense worry. If you don't have the tools to kind of work through it, it can get worse. So this one is the brain, and again, it's another sleeping one. The brain's like, are you sleeping? And then the girl's like, yes, now shut up. And the brain says, what if you forgot to properly wash your hands after peeing and now your blanket and entire body and phone have toilet germs on them? Now I'm not a germaphobe. I don't have contamination OCD, thank God. But I wouldn't call this contamination OCD because, again, like, I mean, maybe it is a little bit. If I touch something that my brain deems as dirty, whatever it is, like, it's just there's something that, oh, can't do that, can't touch that, can't use that because it's dirty or whatever. But I will feel on my hands, like, it feels like you can feel the germs in your hands. Okay, it feels like they're there, they're real things, and like, even though you can't see anything and obviously there's nothing actually there, like, your brain just keeps telling you there's something on the tips of your fingers or on your hands. And then when you touch things, your brain remembers that thing that's on your hands, and then now it's on whatever you just touched, and now it's on this, and now it's on that, and you have to wash your hands, but you also have to take care of all of the stuff that you touched and that you got your nasty whatever the heck is on your hands on, even if there's nothing there. Even when you've cleaned your hands properly, sometimes the brain is just like, I don't know, man. Some people have a compulsion with like hand washing. Well, they'll wash their hands like constantly because they just don't feel like they're ever clean enough. And I did also struggle with the washing of my hands, like not feeling like they're ever clean enough. I always feel like there was something on them. But like, I don't know how to explain it other than it's just like little, you just feel it. You just feel it. There's nothing physically there, but you can just feel it. Like, it's so hard to explain OCD to people. And for some people with OCD, they like to have things like their certain way. So, like, if someone's trying to make food for me, I can't. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you have to be very, 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 very close to me for me to trust your cooking and your kitchen and just, ah. And like I have to really trust you, and it takes a lot sometimes for me. Like, sometimes, like, I can't even eat the food that my family serves because my brain is just like, all food is poison. Everything is poison. This one, it says it's about, like, getting stuff on your hands, and then now your brain is telling you that it's everywhere. Or even not getting stuff on your hands. It's about your hands touching something, and your brain is just like, what was on it though? This one I think is really funny too. It says me consuming 5 different forms of media at the same time so I can minimize the chances of a thought occurring. Yes, so freaking hard. When I do my little hobbies, I'm usually watching something. Sometimes I'm playing RuneScape and doing my little hobbies and watching something, you know. It's just nice to have a little distraction. It kind of keeps your little OCD brain just like not necessarily dormant, but like he takes a little bit of a back step sometimes, especially when you're just like listening to a bunch of stuff. Obviously, consuming a bunch of different media at the same time is terrible, but I will say, as a child who had a computer in their room and that was the only safe place in their house, so I spent a lot of time on the computer in my room. I also had a TV, and I literally grew up. I'm not kidding you. I was playing Sims 1 when it came out, okay? Well, I don't know about when it came out, but I was playing The Sims 1. I remember The Sims 2 coming out, and I was playing The Sims 2. And like my whole childhood, I've played video games on my computer while watching TV. I'm sorry, okay? I've consumed 2 forms of media my whole childhood. Uh but you know, sometimes you just have to you just have to drown out the thoughts with other people's words and stuff, you know? But yeah, I'm not messed up. I've consumed multiple things of media at the same time. However, I probably wouldn't recommend it. I actually have been working very, very hard to not consume multiple things of media. I've been playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and occasionally when I'm like grinding and like picking herbs or alchemy or stuff like that, then I will watch something or listen to something while I'm doing that. But for the most part, when I'm actually playing the game, I focus completely on the game. And like and it's hard sometimes. It's because you don't always want to, and especially when you get used to consuming multiple forms of media at the same time. But it's it's just there's just something about the peaceful emptiness. And I also wonder if it's to do with like ADHD as well. I know a lot of ADHD and OCD overlaps. I have been diagnosed with OCD, and I've been diagnosed with ADHD, but I don't know. It's hard because they overlap so much, so it's hard to like know which one it is if it is both, because it's not uncommon for people with OCD to have ADHD and vice versa. You know, we just have brains that work differently. There's nothing wrong with this. But yeah, so I've been consuming 2 forms of media since my childhood, watching stuff and playing video games at the same time. I don't know if I'd want kids to be like me. I don't think you should want your kids to be like me by any means. But but I turned out fine. All right, and then this meme, it says, "Let's be productive," and the brain says no, and then he says, "Okay, a day of relaxing it is," and the brain says, "No relaxing, only guilt." Which I think is funny too, because I definitely experienced that personally. You do feel a lot of guilt, but I think a lot of it comes from being overwhelmed so much that you can't do anything. And then now that you're struggling with being overwhelmed and you want to do something, and your brain just doesn't want to let you. Whether that be like maybe you've been wanting to watch a TV show. But for me with OCD, I can't just like, I want to watch a TV show, but I can't just like go watch a TV show. It has to feel right. I have to feel like it's the perfect time to watch a TV show and to watch that TV show. It has to be a very specific mood, and that specific mood doesn't come. OCD is the just right disease sometimes, you know? So, like, it just has to feel right. There's just something about it, something in your soul where you're just like, I can't watch that because I'm not happy, or I can't watch that because I'm not feeling intellectual enough, so I'm not going to absorb it enough. Or like I was watching Channel 5 a lot, and then I stopped watching it for a little bit because I was I was wanting to watch it, and I like watching it and learning and observing and like taking it all in and forming my own opinions and stuff, but I felt like I couldn't watch it because I wouldn't absorb it enough. I just haven't been in the space where I want to like consume media for strictly educational purposes, if that makes sense. But yeah, like the brain, it gives you a lot of guilt and will hold you back from doing stuff, but then will make you feel bad about not doing stuff. But then when you try to do stuff, your body's just like, no, you can't. You have to wait until this, or you have to wait until that. This this one says me making sure I'm in my bathroom and not standing in the middle of a crowded mall before I undress for a shower. And that is so funny. Because like why do our brains do that? But they do. Like our brain, a lot of people struggle with like what ifs. So like you get like a thought in your brain, it's like, what if I'm out in public right now? What if there's someone watching me right now? What if I'm on the Truman Show and I had no idea? You know, like what if I left the stove on? What if I left the front door open? What if I locked my dogs outside? You know, like your brain just will pop up, what if this, what if that, what if this? And it's so funny to me, the idea that our brain really is out here telling us, are you sure you're not out in public? As if we as if we have no grasp on reality. Excuse you? We don't have amnesia, or at least I don't. I'm not speaking for all people with OCD, just to be clear again. This what I'm saying is more so it's just for me to work with my conditions and stuff. I like to put humor on them, and I like to laugh at them because, you know, sometimes OCD is dumb. Okay? Sometimes you're just like, why would I even think about that? Like that is literally not going to happen. Like my brain being like, "Well, what if you just woke up and you were just in another universe? What are you gonna do?" I don't know, but that's not gonna happen to me. And it's like, usually it'll grasp onto things that are much more realistic, though. But yeah, like thinking that you, for some reason, just like are hallucinating a bathroom around you and you're not actually in the bathroom. And what if you're in public right now? Thank you so much for joining me on this OCD meme reaction explanation video. I don't even know what this is. I really just wanted to ramble, to be honest. So, which, speaking of, I think it's time to do the hobby report so you guys can know what I've been up to. And well, I've been I've been needle felting. Um this is a head. So, this is my boy. There we go. Yeah. This is my boy. He doesn't have a name. He's got really big ears and yellow eyes. So, pretty cool. And then that's not all either. Okay? She got a big nose. All right, don't judge my goyle. But I got this. I needle felted this. Well, I used like a felt sheet and the needle felted the felt sheet. These are obviously still a work in progress. I'm still learning about needle felting. I completed those. This one took me a while. Like, because with the felt sheet I had to sew it together, and then, you know, putting the hair up it was kind of difficult. So this is No Name, got the big nose. You can see my stitching right there. And I don't like to follow instructions, okay? So when I do my hobbies, I be doing my hobbies my way. It's why I can't crochet, because it's too much. And okay, my last needle felt I want to show you is this guy. Also, well, I mean, she's not a work in progress, she's done, but she was my first needle felt. So, you know, isn't that like, look at that. And she got a little hole down here so she could be like a finger puppet. Isn't that great? Oh my god, it's so crazy. Like, I made this. Like, how cool is that? But if you guys worked on a new hobby, or if you're doing something, let me know down in the comments below. I would love to know what hobby you're into. I'm pretty much sticking with needle felt right now. It's really been consuming my soul. And it's super exciting. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. If you like the video, like the video. If you don't, dislike it. Let me know what hobbies you have, what snack you're snacking on. What are you doing right now? Am I your body double buddy? Let's go. Um but thanks for hanging out with me, and I will catch you later. Bye guys.